All right. Tato. Oops. Oh well. Hi guys. Greetings. Hey, let me know if you can see and hear. Whoops. Forgot to mute myself. Right. It's better. Hello, Cyan. Hi, Paulo. And Mary. And Grace. Hi. Hi, Lissy. Hi, Elle. Hi, Otto. Hi, Cece. Hi, Alexandra. Hi, Trio. Hi, Malvina. Jacqueline. So you saw my little sign? It can light up like there's a button, but it's so bright that it was basically impossible to read with the studio lighting. All right. Whew. I don't know why Saturday mornings are always really hectic, but this one was no exception. Still need to finish preparing this spreadsheet. How is everyone today? Big one, small one. See, what I should do is doop doop doo. Ha. Ooh, popcorn popper. Popcorn is delicious. There. Alright, so yes, today I will be swatching for the first time a set of Derwent Artbars that I got on sale since they were discontinuing them. Discontinued anyway. And I was kind of bummed because I really like them. Like I tried one of them in a past Willink the box and I really loved it, but I was like, I don't really know what to do with these and I can always buy them later. And then I found out that they were discontinued and sort of difficult to find. And I was online window shopping, if you can say that, or researching also. And I saw that a Canadian art supply store had a couple of sets of 36 on sale. So I took the plunge and bought one. Oh, happy birthday, Elle. Oh no. Oh. Otto, is it like, oh, the stomach bug? Oh no. Your poor stomach. Did you eat anything that was, you know, like possibly contaminated, or that was either like bad food or just contaminated with one of the things you're allergic to? Derwent Inktense, I've heard about them a lot, and I'd love to try them, but I'm not really like. Usually when I want to try something, it's either because I've seen it somewhere used in a way that I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I really want to try this. Hold on. There you go. Thanks, Otto. You're not missing much at the moment. I'm basically just filling in the black spots on the chart. But something, I don't remember. Oh, Alina, if you have a migraine, go get some rest. Get a nap if you can. Catch a nap. Anyway. The live stream is gonna be there when you feel better, so you can watch it later. Migraines are evil. Evil, evil, evil. Hi, Lena's partner. Hey, Heather. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Otto. Stomach bug are the worst. Well, with migraine. Migraines are bad because they really limit what you can do. Well, stomach bugs do as well, but I'm not a fan of throwing up, so any kind of thing that makes me throw up is in the top of the worst things. I'm sort of fortunate that I'm going to touch wood on that, but so far in life, like stomach has not been my weak point. Like I have more troubles with other things, and the only time I get really weird stomach feeling is when I have a blood pressure drop, and then I get nauseous, but that's the only thing, and it's so rare that I can usually tell that it's because it's a blood pressure drop and that I need to lay down for a bit. I am using VersaFine. It says pigment ink for fine details. It's waterproof. It's by Tsukineko. It's made in Japan, so yeah. No, the stamps don't come with the rectangle blacked out. You have to buy this small, the tiny set here that has plenty of rectangle shape. If you look at the swatch for the swatch card, there's already a black stripe in there. But if you buy the other one, oh well, I printed all of them. But yeah, let me grab one. So these usually they don't come with the black rectangle either. It's just like the empty square like this one. But as you can see, this one doesn't have the black stripe by default. Hi, Nicola. Oh, whoa, Cyan. Do you know what triggered the migraines? Yeep. It is really black, though on the watercolor paper I kind of have to stamp it twice to get a nice black. The only issue I'm encountering with the ink is that it's oil-based, and as such, sometimes when I put watercolor near the lines, it sort of repels it a bit. There's a bit of a resistance there. So that's done. Just gonna move all this stuff away for now. Just random spots. Oh no. You had that prepared, darn it. Yes, the black squares are also from Raffle Flower. It's in a later release than the swatches. Thank you guys. It is my birthday next week. Yay, thank you guys. Birthdays are cool because that usually means dessert. Okay, so if I heat up this, if I hit this with the heat tool, it should help with the rippling. I'll bear that in mind. I don't have any heat tool plugged in because I sort of don't have the room to store it once it's plugged in, but I'll keep it in mind for when I like if I end up working a lot with this ink, perhaps I'm gonna think of a setup where I have access to the heat tool. Before starting on the swatches with the Derwent Artbar, I wanted to show something that's kind of cool. I received something in the PO box this week. I'm just going to read part of the note. It's from Patty. Cool. Patty says, Hi Eve. I hope you have fun playing with these Kremer pigments. The rose gold is a mix of pigments I experimented with several months ago. I made this for myself and a few friends. Patty says she doesn't make these watercolors to sell, but their friend Zandra is making the recipe and is selling it as PTP Rose Gold on her online store www.paintandpaperstudio.com. Patty also included a half pan of the Kremer Magic Pacific Lagoon pigment. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So there's a really nice card that came with the, and I wanted to swatch the colors because that's pretty cool, as they were sent like it's friend mail. It's the birthday thing cannot break me that much because it's indeed gonna be my birthday. Yes, it's the rose gold and kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's not, is it duochrome? No, it's not duochrome. It's anyway. It's kind of a color that looks white, and then you put it on paper and it looks transparent, and then it hits the light and there's a sheen to it. My zodiac sign is Libra. There's always a bit of a I gotta think up of how do I say this in English. Okay, so let's try this one. I decided to use the brush pen for these because I don't want to put all the glitter in my water yet. It's beautiful. Might be a bit hard to see. Yeah, you can kind of see the way the black stripes becomes all green on camera. It's purple one way here and blue the other way. It's really nice. Whoa. So let's try the rose gold. Rose gold is a really, really nice color. You know, every once in a while you catch a you get on sync with the trends, and whenever the trend became to rose gold, I was a bit happy. I was like, yay! Like, instead of looking at things and being like, whoop, this is not for me, I was like, yay, I can look at stuff and find it pretty at least. It's beautiful. It's really creamy. That cat in the background. Now outside it's people. The weather is super nice. So the windows are open. It's like cool, it's like 15 degrees Celsius. And wow, did I really manage to fray a water brush? That would be pretty epic skills. Oh yeah, updating the swatch folder is really like a daunting prospect. Metallic watercolors, they're basically mica powder, like the same kind you have in makeup, that is mixed with you know, binder and honey and water, just like watercolor. So instead of having a pigment powder, you have a mica powder. The paints are from Patty. Let's see here. She's on YouTube at Patty Tolley Parrish. PATTI TOLLEY PARRISH. Sometimes you will have metallic pigment like mica mixed in with a pigment, like a color pigment. But often it's just mica. I don't know if I will redo all my swatches with the stamps. I'm still in the stage where I'm sort of testing out a few colors, like as you saw in my videos last week, as I did the swatches, I did them on the card. So I have a few in there that are you know, the new card with the stamps. I just don't know if they will be more useful than the previous ones. The only thing they have that's a clear advantage is that they're on cotton paper, and even if it's the inexpensive B cotton paper like this, it still takes the paint better than cellulose paper I was using. I was using super cheap cellulose paper, so it kind of looks like butt. So the art bar are in there. I cut up pieces of them and stuck them in there. Looks like, huh, yeah, okay. Kind of weird things happen in there. I think some of them cracked a bit, but I basically put water and smushed them in there. But it's been a while. I'm glad that it's not more of a mess than it is, but yeah. Yes, my swatches are 2x2. This is just tap water. I think I might have 37 colors in there. I didn't think of that when I did my swatches. But I have the set of 36, and then I have the color that came with the well-inked box that was not in the set of 36. Yeah, I think I have an extra color here. Just gonna have to wing it. I can never find the pen I'm looking for when I'm looking for it, but it's always there when I'm not looking for it. Yeah, that's what I want, but close enough. I don't know if it's oil-based. Hey, welcome back, Alina. So the extra ones. There it is. I think it's pretty close to the yes, the Caran d'Ache ones that are water soluble, except that it comes in a triangular shape for some reason. Here, that's pretty much winging it. Definition of winging it. Okay, sorry about that. I think I have the box of Artbars around here if you want to see what the original box was like. It says water-soluble wax bar for creative marks and texture. Please don't explode. So that's the original thing. Are they... What is this plastic still on there? Are they still on the website? Because I don't think they make them anymore. Hi, Myrna. Hey, May. I think I might have missed a few people coming in, so hi. If I didn't say hi, well, hi. No, it's not oil pastel, it's wax pastel, and you'll see in a second how I plan on using these. Well, I might try them and realize that I hate it, but the one I tried that was with my well-inked box was pretty great. It's like it's really like the Neo Color ones. Ah, that's good. And you can use them like basically solid watercolor cakes. The only thing I'm wondering about is that there is a bit of rubbish on these. Like they're dusty from the other cakes that were in the box. Let's try this. So I'm basically wetting my brush and rubbing the cake thingy. Is that on camera? I second Otto's question because I'm really not familiar with, well, aside from the fact that oil pastels are probably made with an oil medium and the wax pastels are not, but yeah, I don't like using these like in my hands like crayons, so I'm not sure about my experience. The first color was named Mango. I can still read the name because I wrote the names on the side of the pans. This next color is Permanent Yellow. I think they might be a bit coated on the outside. Kind of difficult to pick up the colors. Pastel smells and are mushy. They're gross. I hate how they feel on the fingers. Yeah, this one is wet, so perhaps not a good example at the moment, but yeah, I hate how oil pastels, maybe because hands are warm, but when you hold them in your fingers, they get all this weird texture that's between wax and oil on the fingers. Not super pleasant. This color is well, I can't read, but it's something orange. The bars are all wrapped and labeled when you use them from the box, but since I cut chunks here, I don't like oil pastels. I think I have an issue with anything that leaves a residue on your finger while you work. Like if I could use oil pastels, let's say you smush them on a palette and you use a brush, I think I might be able to work with that. But it's the, you know, using the big chunky thing in your finger and then it's super not precise, and then you try to make details with that stuff, you can't. And whenever you want to take a different color, well, your fingers are all already dirty and full of gook. So say you want to add some white, maybe, on an oil pastel piece, then if you grab the white with your oily fingers, please go on your pastel rant. You guys know my pastel rant. It's the same issue with chalk pastels. Like the residue is perhaps a bit more it's just dust instead of being sticky, but still, if you want to switch colors, you have to wash your hands every single time. How is that supposed to work? So far I'm looking at these colors and I find them a bit muted. Not necessarily a bad thing, but they're not like you know, when you have watercolor cakes. These sort of have a softer feeling to them. Charcoal sticks. What do I think? I only have used them in like live drawing. I can't find the word I'm looking for in my head, but basically when you draw a live model on large newspaper sheets. I've used charcoals then, but I don't know, it's still messy. Like the teachers would do really pretty stuff with them, but I was like, meh. And I don't know, there's something about the mess that if it's a mess about sticking my fingers into ink and painting with my fingers, I'm okay with that. But like powder mess just is even worse because you cannot control it. I can control ink on my finger. I can decide like what I do with it, where it goes, and unless I trip and fall, it's you know, it's manageable. So this was primary red. This is strawberry, I think. This next one is going to be lilac. I think it's to be expected that these colors are fairly opaque, especially a color like lilac. Like some are more transparent. The yellow and orange and this red are fairly, you know, semi-transparent. But the other ones, Oh, cool. It's interesting. Otto says that she loves drawing with charcoal. It feels like sculpting in 2D. I love how dark you can go with charcoal. It's like it can really make for some really black areas. And I think since the charcoal is usually not shiny, it's a matte black, I think it appears even darker because of that. Oh yeah, and the fact that charcoal smears everywhere is a bit of a problem. Okay, next color is named Iris. I got curious about these when I saw artist Enrique Fernandez painting with neocolors. Like, this guy is super crafty in the sense that he's a really good artist to begin with. He's a comic book artist, European comic book, and he's really skilled. He's really good, and he will use everything and anything to make art, and it's always nice. Like, he painted using, you know, the dollar star paints, and it came out really lovely. And the way he knows how to mix stuff together, like how to it's like he has this instinct for knowing what to use over what and when and what colors, and it's always lovely stuff. And I saw him use the Caturday new colors, the one that are water soluble, and I was like, ah, this is really cool. Then I saw the price of the new colors, and I was like, whoa, what? Okay, so I'm slowly gonna build over the set I have from like 20 years ago. I like that it's sort of in between a gouache and a watercolor, and you can use them with a brush, and you can also like put some directly, and it has texture. Like, it was really fun to see him work. I think he has a YouTube channel. You can check if that's the kind of stuff you would like to see. But yeah, that was like the inspiration to see him work. I was like, ah, so that's a thing that's possible. Like, you can work these supplies this way. Super inspiring. The blues are beautiful. I think this one is the blue I got with my Willing box. It's Prussian blue. Doesn't really look Prussian, but these are not watercolors, so I will not go all up in their faces about the names of the things. Ah, that's interesting. High Temple says that she heard an art friend put their oil pastels in a zip bag into the fridge overnight so that they would be easier to work with. Uses the same to firm up underpainting for further layers. Huh. Aw, thank you, Myrna. Get up into space. No, not with these. Like, these, they don't pretend to be watercolor, really, so it's like, I don't think there is even any pigment information, and I wouldn't, like, with anything that's maybe more on the craftier side of things, like, that's when I am like, I'm not, I don't put the bar very high for pigment information, for light fastness. It's more about the fun of using the thing, in my opinion. So if something is really fun to use, well, that's okay. And you just gotta make sure you don't, you know, sell originals. Then again, it's a curious point. Like, okay, question for the chat. Where do you stand when it comes to selling originals that maybe don't have completely light fast mediums on there? How do you feel about that? cry at the price of new colors. How much is it per new color? I don't think it's that bad, is it? Isn't it like a couple of dollars for each of them? Still lower than like watercolor pens. I cannot find them here though, open stock. I have to order them from Jackson's. Oh wow, that's a good grab. Temple for a bargain set of 40 colors of the new color too. Whoa, that's cool. That's a green for cyan. Okay, so Grace says that they think it's fine as long as you're completely upfront about it and suggest ways to make it last. Otto says, I don't personally sell fugitive works, but that's because I paint large paintings to be hung on walls. Lana says, well, it depends on the light fastness. When it fades within days, it's difficult, but otherwise it's okay as far as the customer knows it. A Wrath Beast says, as long as you make sure to tell the customer that the piece is not light fast and archival and they agree, it's good. Alternatively, make them sign to acknowledge the light fast issues. That's a kind of a fair point. That's the best when they sell something on discount because there's a like a cosmetic problem with the packaging and you're like, either I'm not gonna keep the packaging or I'm just, you know, gonna MacGyver it back into shape, and ta-da! I'm the winner. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's the first line of colors. I don't know if that's okay, not bad. Yeah. So I think this set was split into like 4 categories. I remember there were like you had the pastel colors, you had the dark colors, and I don't remember what the other two was. Perhaps the vibrant and something else. There aren't that many greens in there. There's only this one green. I think there's another muted green over here. But yeah. On to the second row. Must not dip my brush into my hot chocolate. Cyan says that she's really strict, no light fastness, it goes to sketchbook. And artwork needs to be light fast. I don't keep stuff on my wall for a really long time, perhaps a year or a year and a half at most, maybe 2 years if you're lucky. So I don't really mind that something is not light fast. Besides, we don't have that much lighting in here. I kind of like that art is not necessarily permanent, because in a way that means I'm gonna have to buy something new and encourage either the same artist because I really like their stuff, or you know, try something new. I'm really curious about this next color. It's supposed to be opaque white. Might be a bit dirty because, like I said, there's a bit of mixed color dust all over the cakes. Here's the catch with white paint. It's always really opaque when it's wet, and usually as it dries it becomes much more transparent. I recently cleared all of my walls except for 2 artworks. I think I'm due for a small change. I like to rotate stuff because that way, like, you have stuff that feels new and inspiring on the wall, and when it gets to the point where you don't even notice it anymore, you can switch it out with something you had forgotten you had, and it's new all over again, and you're like, oh yeah, this is new, this is inspiring, and it starts the circle again. Hey Dan, how are you? Ah, so the ink fence becomes more opaque when it dries. That's a curious behavior. Oh no, you have a cold. Oh, it's nice and cool today. I like it. It's sunny, but it's like 15 degrees, so it's the best. Does anyone have any fall plan? Like anything planned for this coming fall? Trying to read what the name of this one is. Pink. Pink something. What is man flu? Fall pumpkin bread. Ooh, that's yummy. I usually do pumpkin bread with canned pumpkins. I guess it's not necessarily only a fall thing, but it's delicious in the fall and it's really thematic. Man flu is when a man gets a cold and they act like they are literally dying. End of the world. Oh, that. Yeah. Possibly the most annoying disease, like the most annoying minor common thing out there. They get like a regular flu and basically stop being able to work as a human being. This is kind of a yellow ochre. It's honey something. Man flu is just like any other freaking flu. Stop thinking you're special. There's a great big bit of purple in there. That's definitely not the proper color. I'm gonna need the pointy thing. Yep, that's not the proper color at all. Basically, you have a cold and then you have the flu, and that's it. There's no such thing as a man flu. I refuse. Oh, I'm sorry about your knee, Ellen. What happened? Hi. I don't know what the needle tool is, seriously. It's just some... I think it's gotta be one of those sculpting thing, perhaps. It looks like an owl. Owl? Arrow? That pointy thing to poke holes into paper or leather. This thing. But as you can see, the tip is much finer and longer. I don't know what it is, but it's really handy. How is Mr. E when he gets a cold? You know, average. I would say like most guys when they get a cold. Does it have a specific name, Otto? The pokey thing. Just too much standing at work. That doesn't sound too much fun. Do you have to wear like a knee brace or something? Oh no, that doesn't help. Ellen says that she also smacked her knee on an end table a week ago. Yikes! I'm always bumping into things, so I know the pain. Scientists don't agree about men flu. Apparently, men feel the effect of illness worse. No, I think that's because that was men scientists doing the study. Otto says the seller for hers pointy thing calls it needlepoint clay detail tool. That would make sense. I remember where I bought it. It was the the supply store for the university in Quebec. They have a good Beaux-Arts department, fine art department, and I guess they have some sculpture in there. So that would be why they were selling sculpting tools. I use the Poke thing for just about anything. You need to mix something with a tool that you'll be able to wash. That works. Grab something out of a pan, poke at things. It's super pointy, so careful to not poke your fingers, but aside from that, it's been handy for trying to stir paint in tubes, though you gotta be super careful. These two look really similar. Yeah, okay, I guess. Because yeah, there's a risk of poking a hole right through the tube, but if you're careful, it can be a good way to mix a paint that has separated. Geez, these browns are all fairly similar. I don't think the Poke things are native to Quebec. Otto has posted a link to one from Amazon.co.uk. It's basically a tool for sculpting in clay. So many browns, I have a hard time remembering which one I'm at. Hey, Tsukabu. Yeah, a straightened out bobby pin works well. You can use a safety pin that you sort of unfurl. I like the Poke thing because it's sturdy and it's kind of made to be held, but I didn't go looking for it. It just, I went to the shop one day and it was there and I was like, huh, I feel like this tool would be, useful in general, so I bought one. Oh, that's a lovely color. I often do that with stuff like, I don't do sculpting at all, but I saw the Poke tool and I was like, Yep, that's a lot of browns considering there's only 2 greens. Maybe there's a green left in, the super inky dark colors in there, but maybe the last one is like a dark green. Oh, these dark colors are really easy to wet. Like some of them were a lot more work perhaps because they had a bit of a coating, but the purple and the blue I just picked, they were really easy to pick up. Your neighbor has cows? What? Tsukabu, these are the Derwent Artbars. They're not really new. They're not a new thing. They're an older product that's been discontinued. But yeah, I've never used them before. Geez, these 2 blues are really similar again. Yeah, the dark magenta is beautiful. Oh. It's some sort of alizarin color. Am I gonna make a mess? It's very likely. It says just alizarin for this magenta color. This one, dark indigo. Thanks for the mess. Yikes. And midnight is this blue. Dark turquoise and dark forest are the last two colors. I think they're not like the Inktense bar, more like the Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2. You know, the water soluble one? Like crayons, but that you can melt away with water. Oh, that's funny. Having the cow. Whoa, that's really, really dark. Like it's almost more of a gray than a green. It's a bit like perylene green, you know. Okay, so I will go and change the water. I'll be back in a bit. All right, back. Oh, no. Oh no, Cyan, I'm pretty sure the cat and the big dog is not a good mix. Autumn plan, watch Elementary Season 6. It's a really good plan. How far along in the show are you by now? All right. So what now? Should I try to color the drawing from last week with these? You guys remember this drawing? wow, you finished season 5, so you're all up to date. Whoa. Oh, it's a great show. Did you enjoy like the later seasons? Like season 5 is pretty good in my opinion. I think I will go with a synthetic brush with these. Mix of these and this. Do I have a size 6? Do I just have sizes? Oh, there you go. I think it's gonna be fun to see the more opaque art bars on a tan paper like this. This is craft paper, but it's by Stonehenge and it's 100% cotton. So that's why I want to try having a tiny bit of a wet media on top, because I feel like since this is cotton, it's gonna take it a bit better than, you know, cellulose paper. Yeah, season 5 is good. Yeah, it's my picture from last week that I didn't have time to live stream this week, which is kind of a good thing because it means that I can paint it today. I think I should try to make the cats like perhaps have a white cat, since that would be a fun way to see how the lighter colors behave on this darker paper. I'm also curious to see if if these layer in any way. The weight of the paper, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But if you look, it's from Legion paper. It's their craft paper pad. Yeah, sure, I can make this a white cat with... is it one green and one yellow eye, or is it both colors? The art bars can be a bit hard to get some colors, so I think you're really better off working with the synthetic brush for these. This is kind of not a super nice flat color. One green and one yellow. Yeah, sure. Is there any suggestion for the other cat? I gotta close that door. I'm not gonna make it a blue cat. Orange tabby? Hey Stephen, how are you? Prussian blue kitty. Perhaps in another drawing, sure. Why not? So far I find it a bit difficult to get flat washes or flat lay of flat laying down of colors. Kind of word like that. It tends to be a bit striky. Maybe that's just because of the paper as well. That's always an option. Oh, Russian blue. Yeah, Russian and Prussian blue is pretty close. In terms of language, you know. I love Russian blue cats. I had a cat that was the same coloring. I doubted he was a domestic cat. It was not a breed. It was not a. But he had the same kind of gray blue coat, and he had yellow green eyes instead of orange. Hey, Lindy. Yeah, Ellen, my cat was really similar to your Smokey. He looked like a Russian blue, but he was also a rescue, and he had a meow like a Siamese. It's supposed to be pink. It doesn't really show on this paper. It's £90 craft. It says it works with watercolor. Huh. Well, I'm gonna try it with watercolor at some point. I don't think these qualify as watercolor really. Let's use some of this beautiful magenta color. Oh. Hey, Momo Hoskin. Does Derwent have watercolor? They possibly have watercolor pencils, and they have the ink tents. I'm not sure if they have a regular watercolor range. These are sold like water-soluble wax bars that you can use for like multimedia stuff, I guess. It's a really weird way to work with something like this. I'm a bit unsure about it. It's kind of weird because it's not exactly like gouache, but it's not exactly like watercolor either. It's a weird mix. Yeah, you can use the bars and draw like you would with crayons. Do they lift like watercolor? I'm pretty sure these lift. I'm gonna try on this. Yep. This is one of the darkest, most stainy looking color, and it still like picks up. Yeah, you can reactivate these really easily. So I'm pretty sure layering is gonna be problematic. Still find the color selection a bit weird. That was way too wet. Oh, that really sucks. I find it weird that there are places with no art supply store. You know, even before I was able to go to real, I think the first set of watercolor I bought was at a framing store, and the brushes as well. And I think they were probably selling those as like, you know, if you need to fix a picture or a frame, you can use these supplies. But I mean, they were still watercolors and brushes, so perfectly fine. At least now you can order stuff online and get it delivered. Especially in the US, you have many stores that have for free shipping or really good prices. Sorry. So people in the chat are saying that they grew up or they're living in places that the nearest art store is many hours of a drive away. And Otto says, America is so big, if I drove 2 hours inland, I would be at the beach on the other side of the country. And then Ellen said, hey, you should try Canada. Yeah, Canada is kind of big. Kind of. Whoa. St. John's in Newfoundland, so far east of Canada, is closer to Paris, France than it is to Victoria in British Columbia, the far west. Yikes! This I think the camera is doing a service to this painting by making it look a lot better. I think in Canada you can drive for 10 hours and you've not made that much of a distance, you know? Thank you, Ellen. Canada is huge. It really is. I think it can be both a good or a bad thing, but yeah, they look a lot like gouache. They feel a lot like gouache, but they feel a bit like if you had a good quality student range of gouache. You know, they don't feel like the professional Holbein gouaches. Like these, I think, lay down a bit better. But if this was a student brand of gouache, I think it would be quite, you know, quite a good thing. Oh, Canada. Canada is big. We have elections coming up locally. And I'm just like, you know what this set doesn't have that I'm like, it doesn't have a pink. Why would a set not have like a primary magenta instead of one of the zillion browns? You know, you have 4 browns here. We can definitely switch one for a magenta. Like not this one, like a real pinky magenta. Or like these 2 colors are basically the same as well. Oh. Gonna have to make do. Thank you, Momo. Oh, what? From Vancouver to Toronto on buses and a train. You really got to make this into part of the, you know, part of the the trip, because that's gotta take forever. I think Cyan is probably the only person who's happy that this set doesn't come with a pink. I just feel like it's even if you don't like it as a, you know, pure color, it's such an important part of mixes that I feel really weird when I find sets that don't even have it. Like, well, something is missing, you know, it's a primary color. Dan says, I think I found the most neon pink. It's Scarlet ink. That's not pink, that's red, isn't it? I thought that one was red. Yeah, it's gonna take forever, but it's a fantastic way to see Canada. I agree with Otto. The package looks red, but it is eyeball burning pink. Huh, curious. I've always been, you know, I want to buy it, but I'm always like, ah, you don't use the inks that much, you shouldn't buy it. But I'm really, really, really like, if I had to buy one color of the drawing inks, it's the one I would get first. I already have a few, but like they're a bit old and they're from like previous purchases from quite some time ago. I think there was a question about what do I do with all the drawings. I mostly just pile them in a box. I have a box full of them. I haven't found anything better to do with them yet. Most of them I feel are not either cohesive enough as a whole, or like with a decent enough technique that I feel I could make like a small book, or, you know, a small art book or a sketchbook or a collection of paintings. I don't know how to exactly label it, but, you know, to turn it into something more. But I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. I've sold a few of them. People were interested in buying them, but yeah. Oh, you meant to get deep red but got the wrong one. Oops. I love pink. I think I should make it a challenge. You know how James Randi, if you guys are familiar with James Randi, he's a magician slash what's the word? Kind of a, I don't know the word in English, but he was a magician and he spent his life like sort of debunking magicians and their fake tricks that they would use to trick people into eventually, you know, giving them money. And he, for a very long time, I think it's not there anymore, but for a very long time he put together a sort of a thing that would say that if you could prove to him within, you know, like parameters that were scientific, like I don't know the exact term, so don't quote me on the exactness of this, but basically if you could prove that the paranormal or that psychic stuff was real, like really real, he would give you $1 million, and no one has ever come close. Yeah, he's a skeptic. Thank you so much. That was the word my brain couldn't find. But yeah, he's a really awesome skeptic, and you can see him like debunk all kinds of weird practices and magic tricks and the big preacher and all that stuff. So yeah. And no one ever came up close to winning the $1 million. So basically my point is I should offer perhaps a lesser prize maybe, but I should make a similar like contest. Like if you can find a color that I don't like, you get something. Oh, bye April, thank you so much for stopping by. Oops. That's either water from the brush or I spit too much while talking. No, that's not. Oh, there's a bug on my drawing. What the hell are you? Come on, little thing. Squish. I think Grace is a good one. Find a color Eve doesn't like, get a painting done only in that color so she uses it up and doesn't have it anymore. Yep. Oh, sepia is pretty. Sepia. It's a lovely color. No, I like chromium oxide. New medium, squished bug guts. Yep. Buy this multimedia piece featuring art bars, ink, and bugs. Squished bugs. I should really try to plan better and make eventually a zine of, you know, cohesive artworks, or just things that are not me experimenting live on something that I've never tried before, so it's kind of a full of mistakes. But I think it could be fun to have a project. I know there was the Cat and Roger thing. But yeah, perhaps I could revisit that one. I stay away from what color? I don't stay away from any color, as far as I remember. My green method is fine. Yeah, that's not close to dark enough. I'm struggling a bit in mixing a darker orange color here that is not too brown. I feel like all the browns are perhaps a bit too flat. Because technically brown is just dark orange, but none of them have that burnt sienna quality. No, I'm fine with cadmium colors. Cadmium colors. No, I don't. I think you got me confused with someone else then. Hey, Paulo! So Temple says that, yeah, sometime this past year, that idea of favorite color and dislike colors just kind of dissolved. Maybe learning color mixing, maybe learning need for contrast in both color and light. I don't know, but I never thought something called burnt umber would make me go, ooh. Okay, so let's try to add a bit of contrast to the white cat. And hopefully not get very muddled. Muddy, not muddy, but what's the mottled? Yeah, mottled is the word I'm looking for. You know, like patchy. It's really difficult. It was easier to get even colors with the darker ones. I am bothered when they call a color burnt sienna and it's not even PBR7 or it's a mix of color, but that does not mean that the color they call burnt sienna is a color I find ugly. It's just that I find it weird that instead of reaching for the really inexpensive burnt sienna pigment, they made kind of a weird mix of colors to get there. I feel that's like giving yourself way too much work for nothing. So I will try my best to keep the brush strokes in the sense of fur. That way, if it ends up looking all blotchy, might make for a decent fur pattern, maybe. Maybe. But yeah, I don't think that the overlap of light color is working super well, either with the art bar in general or with this paper. It's kind of a rough looking. Yes, there's a bell. The church bells are ringing. All right. Yeah, this is the art bar. The line work was done with ink last week, but the painting is done with the art bars on craft paper. That is cotton paper from Legion, Stonehenge. I don't know if they still call it Stonehenge, but it's the brand is Legion paper, and they have a craft cotton paper. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Cotton. I'm losing my words a little bit today, even in French. Yeah, they look like half pans. I cut off pieces of the bars and put them into half pans because I felt like this would probably be easier to use with a brush than having the bars, the full bars, just in the box they came. I used the platinum pigment pen in sepia brown. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no, Paulo. Oh no. Paulo says that he's worried about himself. He's developed an interest in pastels and he hates chalk and dirty hands. You're completely lost. Well, one thing for sure, you're gonna need gloves. What about using them like people use pan pastels? You know, with tools and like I still not my cup of tea, but I mean I think from what I can tell it looks like a way that's a lot less messy. Is it? Isn't it? I think that's true for any supplies. Otto says pastels are good fun if you can find a way that is enjoyable to you, and I agree. I think that's applicable to everything. Midlife crisis. Ah, that's a good one. I think this is like the only thing ever I disagree on pastel. Yeah, you have to talk me about pastel. I have pastel pencils. I have the Carbothello by I don't remember, but anyway, I have those, and I think they make for a really nice background, like a background color if you want to use colored pencils over them. But I haven't really explored this yet, mostly because I'm kind of limited in space to work here. And I feel like anything with too much dust would be a mess to clean up. So unless I can really clear some of this and have a space that's easier to clean, I struggle a bit with using the Carbothello. But Carbothello, at least as they are pastel pencils, you're not holding them by the pastel, you're holding them by the wood. So even if I use my fingers to like smudge a bit, I'm not contaminating every pen I grab after, every pencil I grab after that. Oh yes, Stabilo. Stabilo Carbothello. Thank you so much. Again, it's this thing where I saw someone work with those and I was like, huh, so you can make this kind of usage with this tool. Because that's the thing, when you are perhaps self-taught, you're not necessarily presented the options of a medium. Like you know this thing exists, you're perhaps like used it a bit and have a kind of a first impression of it, but as for using it like more thoroughly, it's not there. So seeing someone use something in a way that you had not thought of, it's the thing that makes it interesting. So when I see someone work in a way, like when I saw Otto do abstract pieces and when we talked about doing abstract paintings, I mean, I had seen abstract before, but I had never really had this kind of put my mind in the proper place to really get it. So I feel like this is similar with everything. Soft pastels are really a great way to add really strong accents on watercolor paintings. You're gonna have to talk to me about this because I'm really curious now. I'm gonna have to poke your brain, poke, poke, poke. Paulo says that even when he teaches, he has the thing to hold the chalk. Oh, Paulo. Paulo. Well, yeah, maybe pan pastels. Or maybe you're gonna find out that in the mindset of doing art, you really enjoy using your hands as well as a way to express yourself, because that's a thing too. Like if you just want to express yourself and have fun with the colors, then using your hand directly is a really nice way to get stuff done. So I switched to a smaller brush for details. Scraggly mustaches. It's a bit awkward because I can't really rotate my sheet right now. I would usually like rotate this to make it more comfortable, but it's sort of stuck under here. Yay! So I take an appointment with you, Oro, to discuss pastels. Excusez. Please have said Toison d'Or. Toison d'Or. Are those pastels? Oh, those are the Kohinoor pastels. Toison d'Or. That's gotta be butchered by people who don't know how to say it. Toison is not an easy word. I think there was a Tintin movie that was called La Toison d'Or, and it's translated into The Golden Fleece. It's hilariously bad. I love that movie. It is so bad. And like, Tintin is really hunky in there. It was kind of a weird image. Poison d'Or. Toison d'Or. No, the Golden Fleece, the Tintin movie, it's one of those live-action movies. The Tintin live-action movies are so freaking funny. They are so hilarious because it's a mix of like they're a bit older, so it's a different era, and like the actors, you feel like some shots were kept even if they weren't the bad takes, because it was the kind of like, okay, we have one take on this one, let's film it and take it and go home. And it's really, really funny, and I really enjoy watching these movies. They're like good bad movies. What did I say? It's the one about the stories about gold disappearing somewhere, and I think like bad guys want to find the gold, and Tintin is trying to prevent them from finding the gold or something. Yeah, I said he was hunky. In the live action movies, like he's super fit. That was really weird. Like at some point, I think he gets into a bathing suit to dive somewhere, and like he undresses, and I was like, this is not the image I had in my brain of Tintin without a sweater on. I don't know if it's a Steve Reeves movie. It's a French. Well, it's probably a co-production, but it was a French thing. So I don't remember. Perhaps it is Steve Reeves. I don't remember who plays Tintin in it. But yeah, it's a fun one. I enjoyed that movie a lot. I haven't watched it in a while because I don't have cable. Usually there's always a time of year, probably during the holidays, where it's sort of scheduled somewhere on one of the channels and you can catch it then. All right, I think I'm mostly done with this. I'm really enjoying the white color for like details. It's working really well. Well, at least in my opinion. It's a bit difficult to use like to make flat colors, but for details and rim lighting and contour and that sort of stuff, it works super nice. It works really well. Ugh. Otto says that Otto says, you know I exist to enable, right? You're making me curious about pastels. I'm gonna have to go poke around Jackson's afterwards. yeah, it worked. It was nice to be able to layer like on the, well, okay, so it's what I call BS metal, but I didn't have any issue like adding on a bit of highlights. I think the thing is that these reactivate so easily, you can't really work too much. Like if you add on to another color, you gotta be swift. And you gotta let it there. Like if you start working and reworking, it's gonna make a mess because it's gonna pick up the color underneath. But when I was just like adding on top carefully, it seemed to have worked fine. Oh, thank you so much, Lana. That is so kind. Ah, yes, Otto. Otto says you guys call me an enabler, like that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, I agree. I wear the enabler badge with pride as well. Because I figured like art supplies, if they make me so happy, I gotta share the stuff with other people just in case it makes them just as happy. Because the more happy people we are, the better. Art supplies addict support group here. Not a very efficient support group though. I still got the nice Renaissance chalk pastels that Melvina sent me. I gotta figure out the way to. I'm gonna have to talk to Otto, but I gotta think of a way to find a way to use those so that I can review them properly. I don't find it useful if I review them in a way that I'm like, hey, I just don't know what this is and I don't know how to use it, so that's my review. That's kind of useless. Alright, so I think I'm mostly done for today. So yeah, this worked really well. Just as a quick recap, end of video recap. I swatched the colors that Patty sent me. It's probably not going to show really well, but I think you can see how shimmery the rose gold is. And on the black stripe, you can really see the effect of the other color, because the black stripe turns like bright blue, bright purple. So these are really nice, beautiful colors. And then what I did is I swatched out the art bars I have from Derwent. They're a bit like Carandash New Color 2, if you're familiar with those. They are wax-based kind of crayons that are water soluble. So you can either draw directly on paper and then use a brush and water and work with that, or you can do like what I did and cut them into chunks and put them into pans to use more like a watercolor pan. So I swatched them on this paper. This is the 36 color set plus one. The one extra came from a Willinged box from some time ago. And then just to experiment more, I painted this drawing from last week with the colors, since they are all a bit opaque or semi-transparent. It's either semi-transparent, semi-opaque, or opaque. Because some of these, like the magenta, like these are fairly nicely, they don't seem to leave a chalky deposit on the black. Like look at this green. This green is almost transparent. So it was interesting to see these on a colored paper, like this one. And the white was a bit difficult to work, but all the other colors, I think they make for a really nice, a really fun effect. So that's it. If there isn't any more questions, I will end the live stream here. Question: if you dilute this dark cool red on the bottom row, will it turn pinkish? Which one would be the dark cool red? This one is kind of a magenta color. This one is kind of a dusty rose color. Yeah, the white is nicely opaque. That's kind of a nice surprise. Oh, thank you so much, Paolo. Okay, so just gonna running out of space a bit. Yikes. Okay, just quickly see if any of these can make for, well, the strawberry pink is probably the pinkish one. Strawberry pink, strawberry color, strawberry red. I think it makes kind of a decent pink, but it's not exactly, you know, the magenta color. Though this is way too red. It's not gonna make for a pink. It's gonna make for a, well, they're all pink technically, but you know what I mean, like this primary pink color that's a bit somewhere between purple and red. I don't think this one is gonna, it's a bit like Potter's pink, this one. And the magenta, yeah, that's a bit too purple. Like I wouldn't have loved the bright pink. It's easier to mute down the bright color than bring back up a muted color. Alright, so thank you everyone for watching. Huge thanks to Otto and Grace for being awesome moderators. Make sure you check out Otto's channel. I don't think Grace has a channel still, but yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. Have a super awesome weekend. Hopefully all of those who feel a bit under the weather are gonna feel better soon. And I hope you all have a great time. Bye bye.